All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, but only on LinkedIn and YouTube right this second. Hang on, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna go live here on Facebook here in a second. But listen, Kevin, bro, it's an honor to have you back on the
It's an
podcast.
honor to be here with the legend. I
No,
got the
bro,
legend in first.
no, that's you. No, that's absolutely you and your whole
No,
family, man. You
thanks, man.
guys are absolutely
Appreciate that.
amazing,
I
man.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Um, but it's been, dude, what, like a year and a half?
Has it been that much?
I
Has it been
think
that
so,
long?
man.
Really?
It's been,
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, man. Where's the time go?
We were just talking about that today, my wife and I. I was like, a year went poof, and you blinked and we're here.
It's like
Yeah.
Yeah, man, absolutely amazing. A lot's been happening this year, man. Obviously, the season ended with a major bang that nobody foresaw coming, right? But you guys, dude, I'm always a huge fan, obviously, of
Thank
you and your son. Obviously, I've been bugging about that. Finally got that, and I actually wear it everywhere. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's we don't see any sponsored dollars from that logo that you have on your head, by the way. It's all over the bike, it's all over everywhere. It's bigger than matter of fact, it's bigger than the rodeo logos on the bike. It's bigger than the Spellcaster logos on the bike, and we don't see a penny for it. But that's what you get as a father, right? As you got to deal with that.
You do. Well, I talk about it all the time. I try to send, people towards Gus's way as far as graphics and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
Paying it forward, but yeah, man, 2025 season. You guys come in and you did Daytona.
Yeah, did Daytona.
Yep.
Let me share this real quick. Hold on.
Right.
Now, get some peeps on here. What I have now? Yeah, so we did Daytona. What did we come in? 12th, 13th in Daytona.
Yeah, I want to say 12.
It was 12th or 13th. Yeah, it was a good finish. Yeah, we had a great finish for our first attempt. I was like, what the hell's a dump can? What the hell's it? What's all this shit? We're practicing, tire swaps, we got our pit down to like, oh man, 26 seconds, I think it was, right? And then in the race, the little shit's like, leave the front tire, I'm going. So we worked our asses off for hours the night before trying to get it hone our chops, if you will. And then he goes, don't worry about it. Just go run the whole thing. And then Tony from Dunlop, I saw him the day after we were doing the tire test after, and Tony's like, oh yeah, give me the front tire, your tire change from yesterday or Saturday rather. And I said, this is it. And he's like, well, how many laps you got on it? I said, the whole race. And he goes, what? I said, yeah, we didn't want to change it, and he was just like, what do I do with this one, right? So those tires are awesome. Dunlops are awesome, man. We knew it could do it. We absolutely knew it could do it. But, it is what it is.
It is, and speaking of Daytona real quick, it's such a unique racetrack, such a unique venue. And obviously you're allowed to have quick change. Of course, the Ducati's always quick change on the back.
Yeah.
So the front, but the preparation going in, like you said, is completely different than any other race weekend of Moto America. So you guys adapted to it. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Was there any extra, stress going into your first Daytona 200?
Yeah, there's just tons of stress everywhere. Nobody understands it. Behind the scenes stuff. All the once you're to the track, man, it's game on. There's nothing you can do at that point. It's a preparation. Are the fender mounts going to swing? Is the stand right? Is it going to lift the tire in the right spot? There's so much other stuff to go with it, and it's like that's the stressful stuff. Getting it that once you're there, there's nothing you can do. There's no vendors at the track. There's no magic potions. There's no nothing. You just gotta do it. It's like I said. So that the whole night before we're practicing tire changes and never change a tire for the race. We changed the rears, yeah, but no front.
Yeah, I mean, but practice makes perfect, man. So maybe 2026 going in, you already know what the deal is, and knock it down even more. Then racing with, of course, Peter Hickman and Michael Dunlop and all rubbing elbows with the legends of the sport is huge, man. Boost a lot of confidence too as well. It was funny because I remember when my dad showed up, when we went to go get our credentials, and Gus pulls up on me, and the first thing he said out of his mouth, he's like, bro, that podcast you did with Billy Etheridge fucking changed my life, dude. God, I started laughing. I was like, thanks, bro.
That was sick. I'm not gonna lie, that was so sick. The whole world tuned into that one. That was insane.
Yeah, that's definitely been my most controversial podcast for sure. Yeah, 110%.
I think so.
Yeah,
it's hard to top that one.
Yeah, man, it's hard to put into words, man. Kevin, it's one of those things that it took me 7-8 months to actually get him to come on the podcast. You know, he wanted to make sure I wasn't going to portray him in a certain way. And I was like, look, dude, watch all my podcasts, dude. It's all about whatever you want to do. You know, we did video chats and phone calls, and finally calls me up, and he used to call me all the time. Right. So I had, dude, you get to my phone, it's ridiculous. So finally he's like, all right, God damn it. You know how Billy is. He's like, I'm ready. Let's do it. When you want to do it right now, give me 5 minutes. I'll be ready. I'm like, oh, hold up, wait up, dude. We'll have to schedule it. Right. And then, yeah, man, it's, but I was standing at Atlanta earlier the year, and man, I'm standing by turn 1, and all my friends are coming by, and I'm, you know, waving everybody on. This dude, all of a sudden, I see him out of the corner of my eye, walks up, and he goes, how did that make you feel? And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, aren't you the guy that does that podcast? I was like, yeah, man, I'm Simcoe. It's an honor to meet you. You know, he's like, well, the Billy Etheridge. I was like, man, wasn't that wild? Right? Like, that was a crazy one, right? And yeah, but it's been I've got a lot of positives and definitely a lot of, you know, drawbacks from it too as well. But you know what, man? At the end of the day, dude, it was an honor to have him on.
Yeah, exactly. It was.
So
it was good. It was good to see it. Yeah, it was great to see it.
Yeah, it was definitely definitely a wild one. But you know, going back to Daytona, man, that whole weekend, it goes by so fast. You guys absolutely did an amazing job. And then, you know, talk to us about the rest of the year in 2025 and how the UK stuff happened, and we'll talk about that. And
well, we after Daytona, we did Barber. And we weren't gelling with the bike at all. And there was a monsoon coming on the next day, right? Yeah. So we're in race 1. We had some problems with the bike. You know, Gus just wasn't feeling it, so we kind of we pulled in. We said we didn't want to chance it. The head's not there. You know, you don't feel comfortable on this bike. Go into the pits and let's wrap this up for today. You know, we'll go to bed. We'll think about it tomorrow. We'll give it a go. And then the more we thought about it, we're like, you know what? There's a hurricane coming down on us. Let's hop in the truck and get the hell out of here. And we did. We got back a day early. The rig wasn't covered in mud and slop and road grime. And, you know, we didn't throw 2 Ducatis down the track, you know. Thank you, Dale. I appreciate that. You know, it was just like, I got a little grief from a couple of people. Wow, you better. I'm like, well, I'm not a crazy race dad, right? That's not what I am. You know, the kid don't feel comfortable racing it. We're not going to race it. So we pulled out, you know, and that's a good thing, you know, the good and the bad thing, right? So we don't have, as a privateer, as you've seen our part-time professional privateer podcast. I forget which way the P's go. You know, Brandon and Gus and whoever else comes on with us. You know, and it's one thing to not have that. I don't need not that I don't need it. We don't have a 6-figure sponsor to answer to, right? This is still family privateer racing as far as I'm concerned. Right. If I can do it, or we can find enough money elsewhere, which we get a decent amount of money from Luckstar VIP, but he's not just a sponsor. He's a good friend of ours who's been around we've been friends for a long time. And, you know, we don't have to answer to anybody. At the end of the day, if I pull out and get the hell out of Dodge, I don't have to answer to anybody for keeping my kids safe, you know? And like I said, what you're going to throw away 2 Ducatis. If you don't, you will for a piece of plastic. No thanks. So anyway, so that's just the long and short of Barber. Anyway, so moving on after Barber, we went to did a lot of Azra stuff. We did a lot of Azra's come a long way. Azra's really, as you saw right at Daytona. Yeah, Hank, crazy race dads. We know all about them. We were just talking about that in the off studio.
Yes, we was
in the off air studio. Yeah, so the Azra, as you saw in Daytona in October, you know, we didn't get a chance to go because we're in the UK, but obviously we'd have been there. We would have totally been there if not. But yeah, Alex is putting a bunch of time and effort and money into that thing, man, and I really hope it takes off for him. And I told him, listen, whatever I can do to help, you know, let's get you some cameras, let's get you some stuff set up, you know, let's get whatever. And it's not easy, you know, it takes a lot of money to do that, but you know, I'm hoping he stays with it, and I'm hoping he keeps it going, because I think it's a great alternative to have, you know, outside of Moto America, because that's the thing, right? What makes Moto America tick as its prowess in the market, right? And that's simply the production, right? They got the app, they got the cameras, I know in my industry, we can call Game Creek tomorrow, and Game Creek is their TV truck that comes out, and they supply the cameramen and the feeds and everything else. And if you've got the money, you can hire Game Creek to set up around your track and take the video, take the cameras for you. But it's a lot of money, and it's not a chance that I think Alex is ready to take yet. I'm hopeful to come soon, because it would be nice to have an alternative to Moto America, because sometimes, I don't want to talk trash all the time about Moto America, because it's not my intent, but sometimes politics can get in the way of it there, but it is what it is, but I would like to see, the more, the better, if there's two organizations doing it, that'd be really cool to see that, that battle. And it would help bring more traction and more exposure to the sport. But yeah, so anyway, that's the Azra thing. So we did Azra, and then a bunch of those we did. Oh man, I'm trying to think when we did the Loudon Classic was before the UK thing. So we went to the Loudon Classic. We brought a pair of Ducatis. Gus was on one and Brandon was on the other. We put Brandon in 8th place at the Loudon Classic, and then Gus came in again 12th or 13th. I'm not sure. Beating a lot of the bigger names in racing, and again, we're the part-time, privateers. So then Gus took 3rd in the Street Fighter. We got so much shit for going up there with our Street Fighter that I built.
Really?
Yeah. We got a lot of shit. Oh, this one's complaining and that one's complaining. And the Warhorse guys were there. Well, they had a bike. They had a dog in the hunt, if you will. And a lot of it was coming from over there. And I'm like, what the F is the problem? And the comment was made, well, your Street Fighter is a purpose-built Street Fighter. I'm like, what does that even mean? Purpose-built. Yeah, the purpose of racing. That's what the fuck it's built for, right? So I said I bought it. I literally, and I lucked into it, because I love telling the story, because we were talking about it early in the year, like late January. And John Grush, who runs NEMRR, awesome guy, man. What a program they run up there. I really wish more people from down here would go up there. And if it wasn't, New Hampshire, I'd be up there more ourselves, But I literally bought a 2024 Street Fighter V2 Ducati for $2,200 in a Philadelphia impound yard. No lie. Steve Long, who runs Speedworks out of Delaware, he called me up and he said, "Hey, Kevin, I found you this Ducati V2. I think it's a Street Fighter. I offered the guy, he wants $4,000 for it. I offered him $2,500. And I said, well, I didn't know I was buying a Ducati. I was buying a Street Fighter this week, Steve, right? So I said, all right, let me think about it. So we're going back and forth, and the guy kind of ghosts him, right? And he sent me all the pictures and everything of the bike, and it was a little rashed up on one side, but it wasn't bad at all. Well, for $2,500, yeah, it's a steal, right? So I don't think anything of it, because he's not calling me back, right? So I call him back later today. I said, "Yo, anything coming to that thing in with Street Fighter?" And he goes, "Nah, the guy ghosted me, man. I don't know what to do now." I said, "All right, Steve, well, I appreciate you trying." And literally the next morning, I got up like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I go on Marketplace, and boom, here's the listing, right? Same photos, same everything, and I'm like, let me give it a shot, right? I'm like, "Hey, man, I'll offer you $2,000 for it right now, and I'll be in. Looks like you're in Philadelphia. I'll be there in 30 minutes, right?" And he got back to me right away. And he's like, "Well, I already have an offer of $2,500 on the table." I said, "Well, that's me too. I'm the offer of $2,500 and I'm the offer of $2,000. So why don't I just throw the trailer on the truck and I'm going to come see it." Right. So I get out there and I'm looking at this bike and I'm like, man, this is in pretty decent shape, And sure enough, I said, "Look, I'm at $2,000, right? Where are you at?" And he's like, "Oh, well," I said, "Well, you told this guy it had a title, a salvage title, and a key, of which it has neither." I said, "So I'm at $2,000. He's like, "Well, can you do 2,200? I said, "Yeah, absolutely." I had the pit bull restraint, put it on, threw in the trailer. I was gone, right? Got it back. Come to find out it's a 2024 with 157 miles on it. And it was thrown down the road off of Kelly Drive, I think, in Philly. And we checked the VIN and everything. It came up clean, came up, nothing attached to it. So we just lit it up. And so $2,200, we put the solo engineering shit on it, like all the next gen bikes have, but we put the open 7 ECU, which doesn't have the restrictions that the Super Sport class has, with electronics and everything else. And I think we were into the bike for maybe 10 or 12 grand. SC Project was awesome. SC Project gave us the exhaust for it, which was fantastic. Eric Wood gave us clip-ons, rear sets for a discount, a really steep discount. And then ended up, I think I got maybe 11 or 12 grand into the bike. Loudon Classic, he puts it in third. We win 10 grand back. So we paid for the bike. Well, I only got half, actually. Gus kept the other half. So I paid for half. I paid, in theory, right? In theory, the bike got paid for that round. But no, we got money from Brandon. We got money from Gus. Because we had a deal. Like, we'll take care of everything, and you just give us half of the winnings. That's it. That's all we asked for. I even got Corey from Dunlop, took care of our tires. Man, they were so good to us at Loudon. Dunlop has just always been very good to us, and so that was great. Not how to pay for tires, that was awesome too. But yeah, so we were getting shit about it being a purpose-built motorcycle. I'm like, come on, man, really? Oh yeah, your intake is wrong. I'm like, there's no intake. There's there's a hole in the frame behind the number plate, and you're gonna bust my balls about it. He's like, oh, it doesn't say anything about it in the rule book. I said, well, the good thing about your rule book is, unlike most rule books, it doesn't have that little caveat that a lot of rule books have that say if it isn't stated or implied, it's illegal. Well, if it's not stated or implied, it's legal up there. So it's the flip of what Moto America and I think Azra has that same little caveat in the end of it. What's up, Phil?
Yeah,
Phil did fill this shit up.
Yeah, Philly's awesome. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, so then so that was the classic, and then after the classic, we did another Azra round in there, I think. Azra came in, and then went to the UK for the first time to Donington Park, and man, what a facility. Holy cow. I can't even, begin to just the overall vibe, right? The rider vibe is you're treated with such respect over there. They appreciate the riders, they appreciate the teams. All that stuff. They have a lot of trash cans all over the place, so you can throw trash away. There's just a lot of thought goes into everything that they do over there. And,
it's definitely different.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you've been there, yeah. So you're held in a higher regard than over here because they realize that they need the riders over there. What's up, Chad? So they need the riders over there. They need them, and we do here, but there's just a different vibe about how to approach that over here, as we see. The exploitation is different here. The riders are exploited much more here than they are in the UK. So unfortunately, not even sound like oh, thanks, Ryan. Ryan's my cousin. So anyway, So the like I said, the exploitation is not anything near what it is over here. The organization is they buzz around and they make sure everybody has what they need and the whole nine, and and he got up to speed at Donington, never Donington before, never on a GSX 8R. I don't know how the acronym goes. I'll just call it the 8R. Then never on Pirellis. Haven't been on Pirellis since 2018, 2017 maybe. And even that much different tire on a little 300 it was, I guess. So, much different coming into it. And he was getting up to speed really quick over there, which was cool. And then I think we qualified in the 20s and came back to, God, I want to say 15th or 14th. I forget what it was. I apologize. In the first race and came back. Second race was about the same. Yeah. And no, I'm sorry. Donington only didn't have two races. Donington only had one race.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was, that, and I learned, more importantly, you just get to go out there and see the whole country as a whole. We had to drive from Heathrow. We got a rental car on, the steering wheel's on the wrong side of the car. You're on the wrong side of the street.
Roundabouts. Like, fucking how many roundabouts is there?
How many fucking roundabouts? This is enough of this shit. We got rid of all roundabouts in Jersey, and for good reason. Now here they are, they're all over there.
Everywhere. And 2-lane wides. You're like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, and the back roads, forget it. They're single lane back roads. Bro. And I'm, the number one thing is you're talking to guys over there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we see, the rodeo racing stuff all the time, blah blah blah. You get the big rig and the blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, I could never drive that shit on your roads over here. Forget it." I'm like 89 feet long, 90 feet long. I'm like, I wouldn't fit in this paddock. I wouldn't fit anywhere over here because they have all those cab over fronts on their race rigs with the shorter trailers. You know, they have all that stuff that's like condensed over there. It's small. It really is. But no, it was cool. It was really cool. You know, Donington was awesome. We walked the track and get to see Castle Donington over there, and just the history. You know, is really, really cool. You know,
absolutely it is. Yeah, and you said it, dude. The air, the aura, the energy, the way they treat people, the public, the way the riders are, it's completely different. Energy and vibe. It's the tracks are completely different. I mean, I've only been to Cadwell and Brands Hatch, right? So Cadwell is this wide, Brands Hatch is the total opposite, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, speaking of that, you know, going from Dunlop to Pirelli's, but also racing at a world class level racetrack too, as well as Donington, and doing as good as he did, man, is just absolutely amazing. But how did all this come together to be like, hey,
oh shit, yeah, we missed that one, right?
Yeah.
So we've always, as long as I can remember, we've had Luckstar VIP. Has been a very big supporter of ours for Yaki. We actually met Scott from Luckstar through Brandon because Luckstar actually made sure that Brandon got over when he won the Moto 3 in the UK, first American to win a Moto 3. So, you know, we went over once before to Brands. We actually brought it was Gus, Brandon, and Maz. So it was the trio, you're right, the trifecta of Americans going over.
Trouble.
Trouble times 3, right? Yeah. So sure enough, you know, he supported that, and you know, we've always kept touch. We're working together now, actually, because we're trying to do this. Well, it's always been his goal to do this like transatlantic thing. Like he wants to bring riders from over there to over here or over here to over there. So now he's kind of flipping the tables. He's like, you know what? I'm going to build a Ducati V2 for this year, and I'm going to put a BSB rider in the 200 for under Luckstar, under the Rodio 10. So this year, before we do, let's stay on Luckstar. Sorry, I can go off the rails. So Luckstar was very big in helping us get over there. But more importantly, Scott has a good friend, Dave Howard, right? So Dave has been instrumental in all the logistics over there. Now, Dave was formerly in scrutineering over there. And if you've been, you know that scrutineering is their tech, right? It's their parc fermé. So you go to scrutineering and they check your whole bike out, and and they put them on a dyno, by the way.
Yeah, they got a dyno.
Yeah, they keep the dyno right in the back over there, and you come off the track. We got dynoed the first day. You know,
they don't bullshit. They
don't.
No,
they're like,
play.
This team's coming in. The kid did well. The bike's blah blah, and then went on the dyno, and it's like, oh yeah, it's making like 94 horsepower, or I think it might have been less than that. I don't know if maybe John Thornley is watching because John runs the team that we were riding for over there. But yeah, so Dave Howard is very, very connected in the paddock, right? He knows every team because he was in scrutineering, right? So he was the guy. Let me see your bearings, let me check your this, let me check your that, and he basically, like he did before for the three of us, the three kids, when they went the first time, he went through the paddock and solicited, hey, would you like to put a rider from the USA on? Hey, you want to do this? Well, it turns out that we went over the first time with Sim Cirrus, which is Steve Holbrook, who's a super cool dude, right? And he put Gus on the bike the first time, and then this John Thormley, actually, who is partners with MP Racing, which is Matt Peterson. He basically now struck out as crew chief and partner in Matt's MP Racing. So, and having known Dave from Sim Cirrus and everything else, this real small little connected little group. John said, "Sure, yeah, let's bring Gus over for 2 rounds if we could. Like to do 3, if you can. We'd like to do Donington. What was it between the same weekend as the
was it
vintage?
Thruxton?
No, same as vintage Arma at Barber.
Was it August?
No, it was early September. It was right before Brands. But it'll come to me. But yeah, so unfortunately, we had already committed to Bob Robbins to ride the NCR Milana at Arma for the Vintage Fest. So we couldn't do that middle round. So we just did Donington and Brands. And so Dave Howard put us on for that. And basically now Dave is like, hey, you want to come back for next year to ride with MP Racing again? We'd love to have you. And again, there were things that were already taken care of for us, but it's just, we have too much going on as a team going into 26 for me to say, hey, let's go do 7 or 8 rounds over there, or 9 rounds, whatever it is. We just don't have the logistics, and I'm not going to buy a flat in the UK to live for 7, 8 months. I don't have that the ability to do that. Derek, Stick Boy, yeah, I like parking next to Stick Boy. He's
amazing, absolutely.
He really is. He's such a cool dude. Yeah, talking about Dunlop. There you go. There's
there
Derek.
He is.
There's Stick Boy. Yeah. So anyway, that was the UK. And second round was the Brands Hatch, and that went well too. Really good time. That was 2 races.
Yep.
Man, funny thing though, I guess they have some hoodlums over there like we do. Because for Donington and Brands, there was no scooters allowed in the pit unless you were Superbike or you had to get where you need to be. There was no. Now Brands, well, you've been to Brands. If you're down that lower paddock to get up to hot pit,
bro,
oh man,
that hill is fucking, bro. People don't understand that hill.
No,
is no
it's
joke.
Bad. Yeah, well, it's the hill and then under the tunnel and then another hill, and you're like, oh my god. I'll never get there, but sure, I missed, I missed half a session because I'm walking out. What's up, Rick? So anyway, the UK was awesome. It was definitely awesome. And, I'd like to go back maybe, if we wrap up a Moto America next year, early, well, not early. I think there's always the Brands round after, which is cool. So you might be able to, I wish, Omesh, I wish. If it works, I'd love to go back for it because they may have a third bike. They're trying to put 2 riders on MP Racing. So if anybody here has a racer that wants to do a season over at BSB, we can put you in touch with the folks that may or may not have a ride for as a sport bike class, which would be on the GSX 8R, which would be very similar to our twins class. Only they have the the Triumph 660, which is a triple, is allowed in that class. And I believe there's a CF Moto in there too. I think, I don't know what the specs are on that though. But so they're going to have 2 bikes. And I just actually saw on Facebook the other day that they have announced that they'll have a second ride if anybody wants it. So, if anybody wants a ride for the year, wants to give their kid a chance over at BSB, let me know, and I can set the connection up. Well, I'm not going to make any money on it because there's no money to begin with in racing, but I can definitely help you get in the right direction over there. So that being said, he's Scott from Luckstar, going back to Luckstar. He's going to try to bring a rider over from BSB, and we've had a couple of. We're not allowed to talk about it yet, but there are a couple names thrown in the hat that are thinking about it. And there's also another team actually from over there that's going to come over. We're going to help them pit with us at Daytona and get them all squared away, because you need resources to do the Daytona 200. 100%. Yeah, if you don't have a decent paddock and a whole setup, everything else in the States and the connections, it's not very easy to do. So we hooked them up with a couple people here. They're actually a Kawasaki team, so we found them a couple of bikes, and we found them, we'll help them with the pit and everything else, and they're gonna be with us as well. So it's looking like Gus will be one, and then the UK rider on the Luckstar bike will be another, and then I still have the other V2, which I haven't completely committed to it yet, but I'll probably have another Ducati V2 prepped and ready should we come to terms with a racer here in the States that wants to, or even the the BSB, if they want to come over and ride with that. That's something that we're going to entertain very, very soon. Our motors just went out to get taken apart and freshened up and everything else. Fuzzy Moto to a little shameless plug there. Fuzzy Moto.
Big shout out to Fuzzy. We love Fuzzy.
Fuzzy is awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, Fuzzy's my go-to, right? When everything goes south, you're like, Fuzzy, I need this. He's, what do you need now? He puts on this hard ass, right? He's like, I'm such a badass hard ass. And then boom, you got all the information that you need, right? So but I love that guy, man. I love him with every ounce of my being. He's always there, there. And he has a higher, what you gotta love, like, is his integrity. His integrity will not sell out. Will not sell out. He's a lot like me, a lot like me. You get these calls from this dirt bag and that dirt bag that, you can't trust them. And so you lay down this list of demands and they yes to all, right? But then next thing you know, shit starts falling apart, and he's the first one to say, you know what? F that guy, and F that guy. I don't need it, and that's the best thing about him, it's the best thing about Fuzzy. And I share that same mentality. I'm not gonna, crumble for anybody. It's just not worth it. Not how I do.
110%. No.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's the route, that we're going to take for next year. As of now, who knows if that changes, when the motors come back and we put them through the test, and we'll see what happens. Who knows? But
do you know who the UK rider might be?
I can't divulge that yet, because it's not. There's nothing is set in stone yet. It's really early, it's really early. You always I did get a couple of messages on Facebook from guys over there already that we've talked to about it. And then, Luckstar has gotten a bunch because they're over, Dave's over there. So he's beating the streets to see who wants to do it. And then
I wonder if I met that Luckstar guy. I think maybe at Daytona, was he hanging out with Danny Webb and,
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Because he
had the rodeo.
He's like, bro, dude. Yes. He's like, he said something about my shirt. And I was like, yeah. He's like, dude, I love your podcast. I was like, what, dude? What's your name? Yeah. He actually gave me his card, dude. Now that I think about it.
Yep. Dave Howard.
Yep.
Yeah. He comes every year. I make sure that he gets credentials. I make sure he gets, he gets a golf cart ride to his hotel. Dude, no lie. You're not allowed outside the track with golf carts, right? No. So he's like, man, I didn't realize on the backside of the track where the paddock is so far from my hotel, which is on the other side of the track across the boulevard, 6 blocks down, right? So I'm like, come on, let's give it a shot, right? So we hopped in the golf cart. We went down. We did all, they have all the little paths inside of Daytona. And then if you go where those K-rails are, the Jersey barriers are, and you come out to that traffic light where you're not supposed to be on the other side of the traffic light, that takes you across it like, I don't know what the big convenience store is right there. We ripped across that and then boom down that side street for 6 blocks to get to his hotel. I pulled into the portico share. I drop him off in front with his luggage out of the back of the golf cart. And then I'm like, shit, I got to get back. I was almost out of gas too, but luckily I made it back. Thank God. That would have been a mess. I'm lucky I didn't get arrested or run out of gas.
Facts. They don't play down there. Them cops do not play at all.
No.
Omish, sometimes I think, people make this mistakes of not progressing their kids soon enough. What do you feel about that, Kevin?
Not progressing soon enough?
Yeah, like moving them up to the next class sooner rather than later.
I've never been a fan of moving sooner than later. Right. Never, ever. That goes to the batshit crazy dad, as far as I'm concerned. Right. Because I've seen it. Seen it a million times. This year I had a guy tell me, my son wasn't really jiving with the 400, and his times at Jersey were like 35s, 36s. He's just not jiving with the 400. I'm just going to put him on an R6. And because he's going to go faster on an R6. I'm like, you can't manage the corner speed on a 400. You can't manage getting around this track, low 30s.
Yeah.
You think a 600 is the way to go, and your kid is, 120 pounds, 130 pounds. It's brilliant. You know what? Just go ahead and do that. And I've said it, behind closed doors. I'm like, this guy's trying to kill his kid. This one guy is trying to kill his kid. And now this guy over here is trying to kill his kid, and we've seen it so many times. And these kids aren't racing anymore. These are kids that you saw, because we've been in it since 2019, I think Gus started in the Junior Cup. And I saw so many kids. Well, first I saw, and this is going to remain nameless. First I saw a guy who ran his kid so hard in racing. It's where I learned everything not to do in racing from this one person. I'm not, like I said, will remain nameless for many reasons. Saw just the temper tantrums and the fighting and the nonsense and the this and move up. And then next thing you know, they're gone. They're not here no more. And I've seen it 4 or 5 times after that. Exactly, Omish. Master the bike until it's an absolute, and even then let them ride even longer. What he's saying is, wait till they learn the bike every bit of it, every ounce of the machine, what it can do, what they can do on it, and how they jive with it, and everything else. And I think I tell the story all the time. The year that Gus won the stock 100 class in minis, he wanted to move up, and they weren't allowing the 110s because he won the 110 in the 100 class. And even though it's a lesser power machine, it's more nimble than the 100s are on those 16-inch wheels and those piece of shit battle axe tires and everything else they run on those, right? So sure enough, I said, okay, I'll find you exactly. I was like, you beat me to it, Omesh. So I literally found a 2003 Honda XR 100. It wasn't even a CRF 100. It was an XR 100. And I didn't change the oil. I didn't do it. I didn't put pads on it and put nothing on this thing, right? And I put it on. I even did the graphics, and the graphics said Clapper on the side, right? And he ran it, and I'm pretty sure he won the championship on it that year, right? Because that's the thing. They got to learn how to go fast on a piece of shit, right? That's what has to happen. And then they'll know what it's like to ride a piece of shit when they ride a really good race bike. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. If you can make the piece of shit go fast, you can make anything go fast. What do they say? What's in my industry, my main industry, they say only the best drummers can play on the worst kits and make them sound, top of the line. Can play on any kit. And that's just the way it is. So yeah. So let them stay on it. But yeah, don't force the kid to move up so quickly that next thing you know, you're third. Oh, well, the age limit of Superbike is 18. He just turned 18. He should be on a Superbike. No, he shouldn't. Nope. Who said? Yeah. Said who? So you see him get burned out really quick, really easy. And then they just, they kind of just, they fade away. And it's a shame because there's a lot of talent there, right? And there have been times where, with us, it's like, hey, do you want to do this? You not want to do this. And if you don't, let's go. We don't have to do it, but never would I push to ride, let alone up a class, 2 classes, 3 classes. That doesn't make any sense. You're just going to burn money and tires at that point and waste everybody's time. And then you're going to ruin your family.
Yeah. Let's definitely don't go down that right. But no, you're right. You make good points on that. I just didn't think of it in that perspective at all. But yeah.
What's your thoughts?
I mean, I think that sometimes people stay in a class longer than they should. Especially if they stay like 2 or 3 years and just totally dominating. I was like, dude, you just go ahead and move up. But I
agree with that totally. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, with that totally. I do agree to the point to where I've seen it too. Been doing what I've been doing and becoming friends with a lot of people. I've seen it happen on numerous occasions.
Well, I've seen age limits raised in the past, so certain riders could ride in a class, right? And you're like, wait a minute, this isn't. Well, they just raised the Talent Cup to 23, right? Isn't that what I just saw?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Why the hell would you do that? It's the friggin' Talent Cup for the youth. There shouldn't be anybody that is a adult, i.e.
Agreed.
18 years old.
Yep.
It should be 14 to 18, 13, whatever the low end of it. I don't know what the low end of it is. But if you are not an adult, you can go in that class. But if you're 18 or older, you shouldn't be in that class. It's a junior cup for kids, for Christ's sake. And it was the same way with the junior cup. Yes, Chad, that is actually, Chad, great point. Unfortunately, many times they can't afford to move up. And that's the sad thing in this sport. That is the saddest thing in this sport, right? Because, the biggest part about racing is actually getting to the track, right? Being able to afford to get to the track, right? They don't have their sponsors lined up or the whatever, unfortunately, that's the sad reality, right? Of it's over in BSB. It's a lot less expensive to get to the track. That's why there's so many kids that race over there. But then again, their tracks oh God, Eli, don't start with the violins. I love you, Eli.
We definitely love you, Eli.
Yeah. So $29,000 for a talent. Think about
that's
that.
Crazy.
That is, and anybody that says, again, now I'm going to go back. I'm going to show my age here, and I'm going to say that in 2017 to 2018, I think even 2016, there was a series called the KTM Cup, if you remember that.
I do.
Bone stock motorcycles, tires. a pipe. Did they do a pipe on? They did a pipe on those.
Yeah,
right?
they did a pipe. Clip-ons and normal.
Yeah, the controls, absolutely. Yeah.
But other than that, it was pipe and
stock, right?
Yep.
So you should take that mentality, and they should have turned it into the Kawasaki Junior Cup or the Kawasaki Cup with all the Ninja 400s. Do away with the stupid restrictions. Let the bikes run how they run. Don't stock motor, exhaust, suspension, let it go. And then you can get into there for 15 grand, right? On if you can find some shit used and everything else, 20 grand on the high side. You can, and people were saying you can't build a Junior Cup bike for less than 25 grand. Well, that's bullshit because I did it 4 times. So I don't want to hear it. So anyway, so 29K for a Talon Cup bike, man, I think that's just robbery. It's complete robbery. You should not. These kids, you're removing money from these families before they even have a chance to grow in the sport, right? You're bankrupting the families their first year in. How are they going to? Well, it is doing one thing, right? So you're basically getting the cream of the crop. Essentially, what you're doing, you're going to weed out the ones that can't afford to be there because you're going to try to exploit and milk for the next 10 years of their life, right? So they're going to be gone. So you don't have to worry about that, right? So now you got your 80-20, right? You derive 80% of your income from 20% of your people, right? So now you focus on this 20% of these riders that are basically your bread and butter. Now, unfortunately, yeah, I know, Ed, great times.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they're grooming to say, okay, yeah, well, if you got 30 grand a year, you can find this 30. Next year, you got to find 65 to 75 to 85 to upwards of 100 for Twins Cup, right? And then the year after that, you're going to be at 125 to 150. And I heard it's now even closer to more than 300,000 to ride in the super sport class. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And again, I've got 2 Ducatis in the back. I'm going to freshen the motors up this year. I am not paying $100,000 to run these motorcycles for the year. I might be tires, 25, 30 grand, each bike at the end of the year. I might be, I could probably run both these bikes for 100 grand a year. Easy, So it's like, I don't know where the disconnect is, right? I don't know where it is because I would feel horrible saying, hey, you want to ride for me? It's $200K. No, that doesn't happen. And I know there's a very, very prominent rider right now that had that happen to him recently. I'm not going to name any names, and Chad knows what I'm talking about. They got the old bait and switch from somebody. I'm not going to name any names either, but got ready to go. And all of a sudden, boom, another rider comes with sponsors for $200K, and this rider's out. Sorry, didn't work out for you. So when the tables turn this year, and the team that wanted 10 grand or so out of this guy for each round, 10 plus, right? That's 120. Well, it was a little more for Daytona, I think. 120, 130. The family's no way the family's going to pay it. We can't afford that. And so what happens is, they're now like, what do we do? Luckily, someone else recognized the talent, picked them up. And then when the guy that was trying to extort all that money from him found out, threw a hissy fit like a little bitch ass girl. And most of you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's a shame, but it happened. And the good thing about it is he was identified as the bitch ass little girl. Finally. But they're coming back strong next year too, so I can't. What are you gonna do, right? Because now there's 400,000 more, and they found some smacked ass paying them 400,000 for a junior or a super sport ride, and another couple $100,000 for 2 super bike rides. It's like Jesus Christ, It's a shame that money goes to money in this sport, right? But what are you gonna do? So and it's funny because the organization itself kind of directs the money, which kind of sucks, right? Because it's like, yeah, we got Mission Foods, right? And all of a sudden you see this rider and this rider and this rider and this rider, and they're all getting Mission money, right? I never saw no goddamn Mission money, right? I never saw no, what was the other one that got passed around? I know Doritos is giving money everywhere right now, and I haven't seen a penny of that. We're not gonna, you see all these little decals pop up, Doritos on this guy and Doritos on that guy. And, it's like watching Oprah, and you get Doritos and you get Doritos and you get Doritos. Everybody gets Doritos,
Everybody fill up underneath your chair and see your prize.
Everybody gets a cute little yellow drink of Doritos. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with this? You know, I mean, it's you just sit back and you're like, my God, what is this show that I'm watching? You know, I just want to go out, race motorcycles with my kid, and have a good time. Right, that's all I want to do. Right? Do I enjoy building them? Shit, yeah, love building them. I love seeing him on track, enjoying what he does. I love, seeing the machines we put together on track, going real fast, safely, right? But that's it. I can't get into all this politics. I can't understand it. Will I beg and grovel for money? Depends on how much, but probably not, right? Probably I'm not gonna. You're gonna give me a couple of grand here and there. I'm not gonna. I'll have to work a little harder, hustle a little more, and find the money. But I just can't be part of that corporate wheel. It's just kind of. It's very disheartening, but we can go round and round for days about it.
Right. I feel the same on the on the Talent Cup, man. I feel like, it's you're weeding out 90% of the people that really want to go racing versus the people that have the money to go racing.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's like, it's supposed to be a path to MotoGP, and the top 5 get. I know, I laugh too, right?
I'm sorry.
And no, you're funny. It is. And the top 5 are supposed to get a Red Bull rookie shot,
but there were 7. There were
right.
7 or even more, right? Well, where did the other 2 or 3 come from? They weren't in the Talent Cup. How were that? They just show up over there. Oh, I know, because you can go if you want. It's not rocket science. They dangle these cute little carrots, right? And they're like, we'll make sure you get to the road to MotoGP. Well, you know what? You might drive there in your camper, the road to MotoGP, but that's the only way you're going to see it, because they're not going to let it happen.
No,
it's crazy. The only monster.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Eli, you're right. Yeah, would love that Monster back. I drink Monster on a regular basis. I even drink Monster Beast Unleashed on a regular basis. And I'm like, I hold the cans up and everything else, and they're not calling me. They're not calling me. They're not calling any of us.
Monster, what are you doing? You need to get in touch with my boy Kevin, man.
Yeah, let's go, Monster.
Yeah,
for real.
Energy sponsorship. But I mean, you're right. I was confused on the whole thing. I still am. I feel like, if our sport's going to grow, Kevin, and dude, we need to have a series where it's affordable for the average parents that make $100,000 or less to take their kids racing for 2 or 3 years and get that sponsorship money going to make that next step to the
right.
Whatever.
Yeah, but you know what though? So when they throw something at you like this Talent Cup, right? And KTM Motors and Kramer, right? So if Kramer was really here to support you, wouldn't Kramer say, hey, you know what? Here's 20 bikes. Give me 20 kids. Kids, come on out. Pay your tires. Pay for your fuel, right? Pick a number out of this hat, and that's the bike you're on this weekend. That's a true support cup, right? A support group. Say, hey, the bikes are all the same. You know what I mean? And that's why you pull the number out of the hat, right? If Kramer was super supportive, but they're not, right? Otherwise they would have said, hey, we'll throw a bunch of bikes at this, right? Kramer, they're moving a lot of bikes, right? What would 20 bikes cost them to put on the grid? What could it cost? 20 times. I mean, what's their true cost, right? 12 grand, maybe 12 grand all in, So you're talking what, 250, $250,000? Now imagine the exposure you get from that. Well, that might have been what they paid Moto America, right? That could have been what they paid to have their name real big, right? Exactly, Omesh. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that would be the way to go, So you want to tell me that you're supporting and then do it, right? Don't tell me that I might have this cute little chance to go over on the road to MotoGP. If you want to build it, you make it worthwhile for me to be, or you make it worth the value, right? So I don't have to go broke trying to get to it, right? Yeah. Then your real talent can grow. That's the only way you're going to do it. You can't make it stupid expensive,
like they have already. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I hope that they find another solution in the future. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we'll see, because things are definitely getting more expensive. It's definitely not getting any cheaper. And speaking of the Moto America and the politics, that's one thing I fucking cannot stand, is the politics of any fucking thing, to be honest with you. But you being over there in BSB and be there for a couple race weekends and seeing the way they do things, what changes would you like to see them implement? Some changes from BSB over here in Moto America, and kind of implement their kind of style, the way they do things?
I don't think we as Americans are ready for that. I don't think the Moto America paddock is ready for that. It's too structured, right? There's no changes.
Yeah.
We're not going to see any changes come out of Moto America, especially not on my suggestion. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, like I said, it starts from the ground up, though, right? Yeah. It starts from the ground up. So here's what you have. You pull in your camper, right? And they stage you just like you do a Moto America. Now, when it's your time to move in, you move in and you pull up to your spot in the paddock, and you talk with the people around you how you should best get set up, right? And that's the same thing our guys do over here, because Jason and Kevin in the paddock are fucking awesome guys to work with, right? So all the boots on the ground, Moto America, are incredible people, incredible help, incredible workers, so dedicated to the sport. Now over there, you go in, you get set up. They actually have power for everyone. You don't have to run your generator all weekend. You tell them what you need, and then they get you power. They actually have, and now being in my world, right? I'm looking around, I see all these power distribution boxes throughout the paddock, right? And then there's power for everybody. Everybody gets a plug. So so that's first, and then just the overall structure. They make sure that all the super sport guys are together, and all the sport bike guys are together, and super bike guys are up in the garages. Very rarely will you see the stragglers like we have here. We have a lot of stragglers here that'll, myself included, that end up in the paddock over there. And there used to be a junior cup next to me, and then there was a super sport over here, and then there was twins over there, and it was just kind of, but again, that's it's not a huge deal, but the power situation helps with that a ton. Just the overall treatment of the teams as well is huge. I think the disconnect is there, and I think we talked about it before, and I don't believe it changed much. It was like at Coda, when there was no cable on the pit, and there was no guys are out there with canopies, but no TVs to look and see the live timing and the live feed. And I talked to one of the white shirts down there. I said, "Hey, there's no coax out here on the pit for the cable for the TVs." And he said, "Oh, go talk to that one, and hopefully they can help you."
You're like, "What?"
The buck stops with you.
Yeah,
you are the white shirt, and that was it. I said, "Okay, have a good day." Off I went. But it's like when if I'm at a show working, which is very similar, an outdoor concert or corporate event is very much like a Moto America show, logistics and everything else. And if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, your subwoofers on that side of the stage are all not working," I wouldn't say, "Oh, go tell that guy." I'd run up. You know what? I'm going to get right on it. Boom! I run up to the stage. I'm going to find out what's going on. Right? Not the case. So, if you could teach humility, and if you could teach appreciation for the guys on the ground like us, that would be great. That would be a great start. But I believe that's where the disconnect is, and it's a corporate thing, corporate versus boots on the ground. And over there, I talk to everybody. I'm my first time in the paddock, and I'm talking to the paddock masters, and I'm talking to this one, and I'm talking to that one, and Stuart and everybody else over there. They're great to deal with and great to talk to. Over here, unless you're getting in trouble, you're not going up to the tower and seeing anybody. Which what are you gonna do? But that's, like I said, that's the disconnect. Disconnect is in the communications and in the humility, maybe. I guess, for lack of a better word. I really don't know, where to go with it. But again, I don't want to bash. I don't want to bash because we're gonna be there next year. Yeah. We didn't have a big showing with Moto America this year, but we had a really good time. It was nice we did other things like so knowing that it was going to be our quote unquote developmental year, right? Developmental. We're gonna take the Ducatis around and go run as many races as we can. Again, goes back to not throwing everything you have at it, right away. Do I need to go to Laguna and the Ridge for testing? Knowing that PJ's on a super bike ride, but he's in super sport. Matthew Skoll's coming down. He's in super sport. Cam Peterson's in super sport. You know, there's 3 to 4 spots that have become unattainable now. Yeah, the kid's fast. Don't get me wrong, but these are super bike guys that are running in the first top 5. You know, so now I take my chances of being a top 10 to a top 15. Right, because these guys are just the elite. They got the money behind. They got the Ray Hall money. They got Strack. Even though Peter's awesome. Peter Strack is awesome. I love to see the successes that they're afforded right now. But we don't have that kind of money. We don't throw that kind of money at it. It was just we're two different animals, So why would I go out to the West Coast and blow $4,500 to get the rig just to Seattle? Just to get the rig there, you're looking at $45,000 to $5,000. So coming back is $45,000 to $5,000, and then from Seattle down to Laguna, you God knows what. So you're $15,000 in just travel expenses to get out there. Now you're not working for 2-3 weeks either, so what are you going to do? If you fly home in between, there's another $3,000 in flights, so it's just, there's just the whole money aspect. So it wasn't worth it for us. So the developmental year was our route we took. So we did a lot of stuff in between. It gave us a lot of time for Gus to build his vinyl business, right, which we were working on for years. But at the same time, he had to nice. So he had to also learn, as he's learning now, to be able to manage his time, right? Because I can remember, I don't know if he's watching, but he might yell at me. It's actually 6 miles to the gallon, Omesh. 6 miles to the gallon. If I'm getting 6.2 miles to the gallon, 0.2 matters a lot.
He's like, I'm happy.
And it was actually 3,300 miles. And I've worked it out. It actually works out to, and if you want to do your logistics, for me to put the show hauler on the road with the stacker trailer behind it, it's $1 a mile, right? That doesn't include tolls, right? So you're $3,300 in fuel just to get to Seattle, $3,500 to get to Seattle. Another few hundred in fuel and so on, or tolls rather. But so we had time for him to build, which is good because when he was in the Twins Cup, and again, this is not this podcast isn't about Gus, right? So I'm not going to speak for him. I'm not going to, but I can tell you what we've lived through and what we're going through and what we're going towards. So while we're in the Twins Cup, he's trying to figure. I'm like, well, if we want to do this. He's like, well, I can't, I got to work out all the time. I got to do this all the time. And I can't get a job and I can't do this. And I'm like, no, you can, right? Because Moto America is 1 week out of the month, right? So if you have your own business and you're lucky, you're fortunate enough to be an entrepreneur, right? You can schedule your time and your business around this schedule. And he didn't understand. He didn't want to understand it at first. So taking last year and backing it up a little bit and saying, hey, developmental, we're not going hardcore. We're not going crazy. And him understanding that he can do his business and still ride, and this winter he's working, his business is doing very well. So he's really busy and but he's also figuring out how to get the time in there to go down to Florida and train, to go and run supermotos at Bushnell, which is great. And we needed to back away from this for him to be able to learn how to do that. We also needed to back away for us to get the performance shop up and running, which we've been working towards. We kind of do it. We're doing a trickle out release with that. We got the dyno, we got the bays are up, the lifts are in. We have this wicked Batubo suspension seminar coming up on the 14th, and there's 1 seat left. So I don't know if there's any mechanics watching this right now. We have 1 seat left for Batubo. It's a shameless plug, isn't it?
I love it. Go ahead, plug it out.
Yeah. So Batubo sat us down and we had a lot of success, and Chad will agree that Batubo suspension is really superior than most suspension out there. And most of the rides over in BSB are on Batubo, right? So Gus loved riding on it. We came back, we bought the 2 Ducatis, and they were outfitted with Ohlins, right? So we sat down with Skip from K-Tech, and I said, hey, listen, we're not married to Ohlins because Ohlins isn't going to give us anything, and we not that we wouldn't support it, but we had success with K-Tech, right? Because K-Tech is very good suspension as well. So I sat down with Skip. I saw it, yeah. Yeah. So I sat down with Skip and I said, hey man, and he's like, yeah, what can we help you with? And that's when we had just decided that it wasn't going to be a full blown year for us. It was going to be developmental, and Skip was ready to commit and give us, you know, quite a bit of support. And I said, Skip, I can't take your support. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, I don't feel right taking anything from you because I have nothing to give you in return. I can't promise you going to be at every Moto America round. I can't promise you I'm going to, you know, we're going to be in the top 5 at Daytona. I can't promise you anything. So I'm not going to take your K-Tech support. And he understood. He's a great guy. You know, Skip and his whole crew is incredible. So when we were, you know, just knowing a personal preference for Gus, he likes the Batubo stuff. So when I was in the UK, I met Dave Croft, who is quite possibly the most savage suspension trackside support tech you'll ever meet. This guy, he is ex-military. He is literally, I think he's ex-Navy. He walks the paddock at Brands Hatch and services Batubo shit like this, right? So he introduces us to the Batubo support group here in the States. We now get in touch with Batubo over in Italy. So now we're talking with those guys, and they're like, yeah, listen, we need a certified service center in the United States. And I said, well, I'd love to, but I don't know the first thing about it. And they said, well, why don't you have one of your techs or a couple of your techs come over and we'll train them, and we'll train them. And I said, that kind of doesn't make sense, right? And this is where I dropped the bomb. And I said, look, if you guys want to push in 2026 for some sort of share of the market in the States, you really should have more service techs over here. So instead of me sending 1 or 2 guys over to you, why don't you send over your 1 guy to here, and I'll put together a network of suspension techs from around the country. So they said they liked the idea, and then kind of we built on it, and then EICMA popped in there, so they got really busy. So as soon as they got back from EICMA, we basically sat down, hammered it all out, and said, look, we're going to open it up to 8 techs. These 8 techs, once they're certified, they will become Batubo dealers here in the States. They will be part of the certified service network here in the States. And it was my goal to get as many guys from around the country from different areas as I could. We don't want to step on our own toes over here. So they'll all be here from December 15th to the 19th. It's a 5-day training, Monday through Friday. And we have 1 spot open. Now, so Batubo came back and said, what do we do? You know, how do we make this affordable for everybody? So this is where the smarts come in. This is not talent cup mentality. This is business mentality. It says it's $150, right? A week's worth of training, $150. All you got to do is get your hotel, get here, get your logistics. You get here, $150. You get 5 days worth of Batubo training. You get certified. You get dealership. You get the ability that if you take your certification to a shop, if you're not a private tech, you become a certified service center for Batubo, right? Brilliant, right? On top of that, we're going to be if it works out, we're going to be the trackside support for Batubo through our trailer. And you know, there's a couple of there's you know, Matt from Robum is also Batubo. He's brilliant with the suspension, but he's kind of focused on his racing thing. Haven't talked with him yet to see if he wants to help out with the trackside stuff, but he just helps out anyway. So he really doesn't need, you know, he doesn't need a title. I know Superbike Unlimited is Batubo and Attack is Batubo. So there'll be 8 more ways to get Batubo around the country once this is all over. So yeah, so that'll be I told Ryan he was supposed to get back to me. Yeah, he didn't get back to me. Yeah, I told everybody. Actually, you know what? I gotta check my emails. God forbid he's in there right now, paid. Oh shit. But anyway, yeah. So that was the thing with the Batubo stuff, you know, and it was, so we had the ability to work on that. We had the ability to work on the performance shop, where we put in, you know, we had to build the soundproof studio for the Dyno Jet. And I think next time we come on, I'll remote in with my phone or whatever. We can walk back to the performance shop and show you what that's all about. It's still in the early stages, you know. Still, you know, we painted and acrylic on the floor and the whole 9, but we just haven't gotten, you know, but without having, you know, if we'd have been a full season of Moto America last year, never would we'd be going this right now, working on it. So, well, last year, I say earlier this year. So yeah, so being a developmental year, this season worked out, pretty well. Going to come back and we're and again, even now going into next year, we're still not like we're gonna go, balls to the wall. I don't need that mentality. Will I buy the full season entry? Maybe, only because you save quite a bit in credentials and everything else. But that's something we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it, which is going to be in like 2 months. Early February, we'll cross that bridge. But until then, we're going to keep building, keep getting the bikes done. Getting everything in place for a season or not a season. To just have fun with it.
I think you're right to step back and get your headspace right in a different area and focus on realizing you can do a full-time job in your passion, which is GRG Designs, by the way. And juggling, being that transformation from a young adulthood and realizing all this shit chaos we have as an adult, right?
Yeah.
And still be able to do your passion and juggle that, I think is going to make him stronger here, mental wise too, as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
And we had, and I don't want to get dark cloud on us. It was probably, I guess it was about a year ago. My father passed away, and my father was a massive presence at the track for Gus and myself. It was you couldn't, everybody in the paddock, he was the mayor of the paddock. He'd roll around his golf cart, and he's talking to everybody. So it was weird. And I think maybe that Barbara kind of hit all of us a little bit too. We were like, just not feeling it. It's not the same. Something's not right. Something's not, whether you have a heightened sense to whatever. And again, that's why I'm saying I'm not pushing at all. If you're not feeling it, we're going to go. If your headspace ain't right, then let's get out of here. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great approach, man. And earlier you said something about getting you BSB riders over here and us over there, man. I think it's great for the sport, man, because it opens up doors and windows. Just for, I think, me personally, I feel like we're all under the same beautiful circus, but I think we're divided too as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So until we can find everybody come together, because we're just a small Indian tribe, right? There should be no fighting amongst each other. Not just, I'm talking about between here and BSB and WSBK and all that, right? I think if we found that, I don't want to say common ground, but common ground amongst everybody and made the rules evenly across all the planes and just, made that change instead of the utter shitstorm it is now. Let's just be honest. It
is a shitstorm. You're
know
right.
What I mean?
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm not talking bad, dude. I love my
no, same,
dude. They're freaking awesome. Everybody works there. I freaking love every single one of you guys.
Oh, dude, they're for real.
But it's just the whole political side of shit that's just fucking. Yeah, man, dude. I would love to see you guys over there in BSB for a full season, kicking ass. That's what we need.
Sorry, had to mute the mic. Got something in my throat. Yeah, no, it was cool, and again, can't commit to it. Love to, we were talking about it. We were over there, let's do another season. And we're like, I'd love to, but
maybe 2027.
I mean, basically though, what do you do? What do you do as a team owner? Say, hey, I got these 2 Ducatis and let them sit for the summer or sit for the season. You can't.
No, rent them out for the season next year to another team.
Yeah, rent them out and they come back in a million pieces.
Yeah, right. You're like, what? This ain't the same bike I rented.
It says Yamaha on it. What happened?
This ain't my $2,500 Ducati.
Yeah, for real.
Dude, that's awesome. I want to talk about the Azure Daytona experience real quick, man. That was absolutely amazing. Dude, I got to do some commentating there, over the weekend, which was, different. I was hoping you guys would be there. I was bummed out when you guys didn't show up. I was like, shit, dude.
That's the first time we haven't made the October Daytona in a while.
It was the first time I made it, and you guys don't show up. Boo! No. But yeah, dude, it was good to see Danny Webb back out there, Gary Johnson back out there, preparing for the season, and it speaks volumes. And I was talking to a buddy of mine about, historical tracks. Everybody talks about Laguna Seca. For me, it's always been the Daytona 200. It's the only track really where everybody in the world wants to come and race is the 200, right?
Yeah, Gus has the record at Daytona and the record at Laguna. Some both places.
Gus is a legend, man, for sure. You're right. This podcast is definitely not about your boy Gus, but one thing I will say that I appreciate more than anything about your boy Gus, man, is his energy towards people, his kindness, and the way he always talks to everybody. You know, even when things are not going his way, he's having a bad weekend or whatever, he always puts on that smile and that good energy and goes out there. And
do you know why that is?
And I love it, man.
Do you know why that is? Because he treats me like shit. That's why. Okay.
Come on, Gus.
I'm gonna throw that out there, right? But it's in, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's father-son relationship, right? So, and I remember one time I asked him, I said, why do you treat me like shit? And he goes, well, when you talk to other people, what do they say about me? Do they say that I'm like, you know, I treat them like shit or I disrespect them? I'm like, no, everybody says you're a goddamn angel and you're super respectful and you're super appreciative and you're super everything. And he goes, well, if I talk to you like that, I can't talk to them like that. He's like, I guess I need an outlet, right? For my sarcasm and for my ball busting. Yeah, you're right, Alex. He's a hoot. He really is a hoot.
Yeah, he is. That's hilarious. But, you know, speaking back of you guys taking a learning year, a developmental year, that's going back to the grassroots of racing. Yeah. Doing the club racing, right? Taking it back to where it all started.
We never left though.
Well, I know, but
we always support Azra. We're always absolutely,
focus, right?
You know, that's the days that you have fun. You're like, you know, you go to the track and you have a good time, you know, and you're not changing tires for every session, and you're not, you know, going crazy if the bike doesn't perform. You know, you're not worried about the camera shot being in the right, you know, and it's just, and we had a lot more fun going to these, you know, Jersey, hometown, 35 minutes from the house, you know, you're going and you're chilling out, and yeah, you get up early, you do the tech and everything else, and then it's just the day rolls, you know. Do you need a tire? I don't really know I need a tire, you know. One of those, Moto America, every tire, every round, tires, every class, every session, new tires, new this, new that, you know, go get more fuel, blah, 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 you know. But for some reason, the day, when you're at Moto America, the day is just it's so crazy. And you really don't do a lot. Like, that's what I don't understand. We leave there so frazzled sometimes. And it's like, when we were with Azra, when it was CCS still, you know, we were doing the 400s. Me and Joe Lamondre, Big Joe, go way back, right? We would pit together, you know, and we would go fucking tires every fucking race, or every other race. We're pulling tires. Well, we're at Summit Point. Is it going to rain? Yeah, it's going to rain. Take tires off. Oh, it's not going to rain. Put tires on. You know, so we did all that shit doing, oh God, what was it? 5-6 races in a day. You know, some of them with, you know, one race in between, some back to back. You know, you had these days of just complete chaos. And at the end of the day, you're like, I had a good time today. You know, Moto America, you got warm up at 9, right? Excuse me. Qualifying at 1, you know, or whatever. And then race at 3. You got all this time in between. But at the end of the day, you feel like you're so spent. You're just so frazzled at the end of the day. And I can't figure out for the life of me why. Right. But there's just so much downtime in between. You know, like I said, with CCS, it's just me and Joe, and he's doing his kids' tires and fuel, and I'm doing my kids' tires and fuel, and we're just going. And we got, you know, like I said, 5 races for the day and practices in the morning. And it's like you just feel so spent at the end of the day for some reason. I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but I'm trying to figure it out, but I can't figure it out for life of me. Anybody knows, by all means, help me out here. Yeah, It's just crazy. Yeah.
I feel like when I go to the club races to see all my friends, it's definitely more relaxed. It's a relaxed vibe. It's like, yeah, it's okay. I got last call. I still got 2 or 3 minutes. I'm good, right? Or whatever it is. Where Moto America, it's everybody's high energy. More walls are put up, right? Meaning that the short conversations are even shorter, right, than they are because they're so focused on whatever it is they're going on in the garage or the bike or whatever, right? And when I go to the club races, it's like I don't want to say I get more of your true self. Everybody there is a lot more relaxed, so they're a lot more open. I'll say that, right? And a lot more smiles you see, right? Walking through the paddock versus Moto America, there's not too many smiles going on.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm always smiling Moto America. You know, I try not to let it get to me, you know, but like I said, at the end of the day, you're just like, yeah, you know, you're just floored. You know, you're just like, oh, what did I do today? Because I'm spent.
Yeah, and we didn't do none. We had a practice session and a qualifying session.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it, right? And made hot dogs and burgers, like
Yeah. Like when
and
it's
I'm
all
all out.
when it's all over, we would just sit down with a monster beast unleashed and watch Bob Ross. We'd watch
Right?
Bob Ross paintings and just with our eyes crossed, like what just happened.
Little
Today.
trees, little happy trees.
Happy little trees. I got a happy little trees. Happy little motorcycle. I got
Right,
happy little
yeah, right. Bob, paint that. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Right? Yeah,
exactly. All the
oh
new
my
Bob, not to go sideways, but have you seen all the Bob Ross AI memes that are out there now?
bro.
Oh, gee.
They're hilarious, man. Just like the AI music, like a buddy of mine sent me was it a 50 Cent song in jazz or whatever? I was like, bro, this shit is awesome. He's like, dude, it's AI. I was like, shut up.
You know what though? You can keep the AI. There used to be a guy called Richard Cheese. You ever hear him?
Mm-mm.
Richard Cheese.
Check him
Look
out.
him up. Look him up. He used to do all the hits in swing.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Whoa.
He did Disturbed Down with the Sickness. It was in the movie what's that movie? Dawn of the Dead?
Okay.
In the mall,
yeah,
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Down with the Sickness in jazz swing. And it was fantastic.
Love it.
Look him up. He's a trip.
I will.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah. But anyway,
dude,
I got a little sidetracked there.
No, you're good, man. Dude, you're right. 2025 went by so fast. 2026 is fast approaching, and it's like Daytona's going to be here before we know it, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. And the BSB, man, all that. And then, real quick, man, what about, I told you earlier, what do you think about Cam Bobier going to Ducati Warhorse this season, right? With
man, I like Cam. I love his dad.
Dude, I had Jeff on.
Dude.
Jeff is awesome.
Yeah. So you're just like, Cam is just such a soft-spoken pro, right?
Yes.
And I feel like he's getting thrown into the lion's den with that over there. Like I could see Josh, right? Because Josh, I like Josh. I've always liked Josh. I remember the first time we went ride at the Heron compound. We used to ride there a few times a year with their Frostbite series, right?
Yep.
And Josh was there. He's cool, but he's a little more edgy. He can dish it back. He can dish it out, right?
Yeah.
Don't know that Cam is I don't know, unless the structure has changed over there. I just see Cam getting taken advantage of by the powers that be. The power that bees.
Yeah.
There's one dude over there that I don't get along with. And I just see and the one dude that I don't get along with is probably the reason why Josh isn't there anymore. He's the reason why Alessandro never went there. He's the reason why we parted ways years ago. Well, not years ago, when our twins program went belly up. Not belly up, but it went sideways because his approach is just whacked. I can't think of any better word. He is self-absorbed. He is arrogant. He is just at the end of every year, you hear people talk about what an a-hole this guy is, and I can't stand him, and nobody likes him, blah, blah, blah. And it goes all the way up. Everybody talks about, we don't like this guy. And yet he comes back next year with more money than the previous. And God bless him, I guess. I don't know. But I just see Cam, the Cam thing, I hope, that Cam doesn't get taken advantage of. Right? That's what I hope. And poor Ben Smith. Man, is he coming into the lion's den as well? He is, I don't know. I know it's great, right? You get the Warhorse name behind it. And I'll probably get, in trouble for talking about this like I'm talking about it, like I always do. I'm not really in trouble, but, they kind of turn their nose up at me, but I really don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I can't.
We both don't.
It's funny because I can't talk to Faraci. I talk to Faraci, but I can't talk to Faraci.
Yeah.
It's funny. And but no, and seeing Flow for Law, they came in, they must have put a bunch of money into Ben's program. And it's great for Ben. It really is. I just hope that they get their money's worth. That's the thing, right? Are they going to get their money's worth? And then there's the other half of that, of that team, right? That's hosting 2 super sport rides this year, right? Isn't it 2? Well, I don't know. Cam Peterson's not doing super sport, is he? No. I think he's just doing baggers.
So. He's just doing baggers.
So then you got Riston Grigg is on the super sport bike.
Riston,
yeah. Yeah, that's a whole nother animal too. They a lot of money went into that too. And it's like, God damn, again, these are the big dollar rides. And it's like, I hope you're all going to get your money worth, because a little funny story. We were at Road Atlanta. Was it Road Atlanta? The hot pit, the trucks are right against the fence of hot pit. I think it's Road Atlanta. It's either Road America or Road Atlanta. Down the hill. They're both down the hill into the paddock, right? I'm not sure which one it is, but I know that I was walking behind hot pit rather. And the truck was there with the horse on it. And the driver was pulling a decal off, one of the sponsored decals, right? And I go, oh, who'd he piss off this week? Which sponsor did he piss off this week? And the driver turned to me and he goes, which sponsor didn't he piss off this week? And I went, whoa, and it was funny because, the irony is there, man. It's like, how does that money come in? I don't understand. Where the money comes from, But yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope Cam does well. But the one thing that kind of what rubs me the wrong way, and I don't, please don't take offense to this, right? But today, you're doing really well on the BMW, right? You get this ride, all of a sudden the Ducati is a superior machine, right? So you immediately, your loyalties go out the window, and now boom, I'm on the Ducati, So it's like, what was Orange Cat? Who was Tyler's?
Tyler's, yeah.
So all that they did for you, the previous years, when, I don't know what their deals were, but, I think he had a pretty good ride with Tyler's, but all of a sudden now, this one's better.
Yeah. I heard Tyler's was pulling out. Like they didn't want to race next year.
I've heard that every year for the past.
I know. Me too.
How many years? Yeah.
I don't know. And I just know 2026 could be a crazy year.
Yeah.
It's going to be, because everything's
absolutely going to be crazy.
Upside down, and
oh yeah,
market's moved and riders changed spots that we didn't see coming. Some of them we did, some of them we didn't. So it's going to be, dude. I'm happy for DeMario being teammates.
Absolutely,
with Aaron. I think. He's
that's a cool ride
for sure.
That's a cool ride. Yeah,
it is. And Kayla's going to be with Ray Hall too, I think, again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, her and PJ. Her and PJ got renewed, and then they brought on Alessandro.
Yeah, that's right. Because then Corey's not. Racing.
No, he's the Arch bike. Yeah, he's doing the.
He's doing the Arch. Yeah. Alex said they folded. Yeah, I mean that's what I keep hearing, Alex.
Who did Arch?
No.
Tyler's.
Yeah, Tyler's.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Arch ain't going nowhere.
No, they don't have to. They're good.
They don't. No,
Keanu just stroke a check.
But it's good for our sport to have.
Absolutely, yeah. The exposure is fantastic. Right. Yeah.
Hopefully, they'll bring Hollywood sponsorships into our sport, right? Imagine that.
Don't count on that. Don't count on that. Moto America be like, I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that one.
I'll take all of that. Give it to me.
They tried actually. I had words with their marketing department a couple of years ago. We had a sponsor come on. This is when we were running Maz and Gus in the Twins Cup. We had a sponsor who we made look larger than life, because it's all a show, right?
Yeah.
You want to make sure your sponsor gets the most exposure. So we had a company at the time called Geoscape Solar, a good friend of ours from over here, and he didn't give us a whole lot of money. He gave a good amount to just Maz as the rider, but didn't give the team a whole bunch of money. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It just didn't work out that way. We didn't structure it that way. But what we did do is we gave the most exposure that we possibly could to Geoscape Solar, right? He was on the leathers, he was on the bikes, and he was everywhere. And I got a call one day and I said, hey, Kevin, we might have talked about this before, actually. Who's this Geoscape Solar sponsor that you guys pulled on board? Could you introduce us to him? And I'm like, you're fucking high. Why would I do? What are you, out of your goddamn minds? I'm going to introduce one of our it looked like our title sponsor, right?
Yeah.
Even though it really wasn't our title sponsor, they were like, yeah, introduce us. I'm like, yeah, you'll get right on that. Forget it.
Hang on.
So yeah, but it was funny because they got there's one inside source over there is like, I can't believe they would do that. Who in their right mind would think it's a good idea to ask you for your sponsor's info so they're gonna basically
go poach his ass.
They're gonna poach your sponsor. I'm like, exactly. Thank you. Thank you for not making me think I'm crazy, you know. But it's like, yeah, there's no, dude, you can't make this shit up half the time. You really can't.
Nah, man, you can't. Absolutely not. You can't. But
Uh-uh.
yeah, and then dude, yeah, I don't know what else to say, man. It's been your guys' season started off absolutely amazing and strong. I know you guys killed it in the Azure races, as Gus always does when he shows up.
Yeah, he does
killing
well.
it every weekend. And I know him and Posh still be hooning around all the time on the well, one thing I did want to talk about too, real quick, is the RC track, man. Let's talk about the RC track.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if I haven't really been pushing it that much. I mean, I probably should push it more, but it's really not my endeavor. I mean, I own the building, but yeah, there is that badass. It's a badass indoor RC track that we just that just got finished. In the opening day was Saturday. Man, it was friggin' packed. This guy, his name's Tom Petrella. He owned Rhythm RC Raceway, and it was here in town, and it was in the basement of another catering hall. Believe it or not, a country club, golf course, banquet hall. Old. It's been in the town for a while. I don't know, they were crazy busy, but he had this small. It was like maybe 2,400 square feet. It wasn't really big, and they had a fire, so they were in the basement, and they didn't get burned, but it got flooded from all the water. And then the whole building above was basically burned, so they couldn't go back. So I didn't know him, and I didn't even know that the track was there. So my wife, we had reached out to the catering hall and said, hey, look, if you have any brides or whatever have been displaced, why don't you, send them our way? We'll help them out to get them, back on the bridal tour, if you will. Get a new venue for them, and want to come to have your wedding at our place, right? So, come to find out, my wife sees this post on Facebook. It says, this track was destroyed. Right? I'm like, oh man, that sucks, because we had been thinking about doing an indoor RC track in the basement over Cathedral, because it's 6,000 square foot plus. It's big, but I can't use it because I'm a commercial entity. So I can't do public events there without having ADA compliance. So sure enough, I let it go. It was either that or an indoor gun range. And there was no way the township was going to let me do a gun range in that indoor, but I tried. But anyway, so the post was there. I call him up. I'm like, hey, Tom, you don't know me, but I have a spot that, you might be able to use for your indoor track. And he's like, I don't know. I haven't given it much thought. I don't know. I'm kind of bummed out. And he's really bummed out. He's a really genuine guy, really, really nice guy. So he said, well, let me come over and look at it. I said, well, when you want to stop by? He's like, are you there now? I said, yeah. He was there in like 5 minutes. He stops over, looks at it. He's like, holy shit. He's looking around, this is friggin' amazing, and I think this was like end of October, right? So I said, look, it's yours. Whatever you can do, it's yours. Let's make it fly. So he was away a couple weeks here and there, and did a couple of things. I think in about 2 weeks of actual build time, we built that track down. Well, I didn't build the track. I installed some lighting, I installed some TVs and some speakers and whatnot, but they did all the majority of the work, and they got it all in there. And man, this yeah, I know, Chad, right? Yeah. So I said, and I'm like, okay, cool, so I still wasn't sold on how good it was going to be. And man, I woke up, I said, I'm not going to get up early and go to this thing, right? Because I had a Saturday, I was going to sleep in a little bit. So at 7:30, I throw on my cameras, and I check the cameras, and I see it's a fucking line to get in the building, right? I'm sorry, no, is it 6:45? I threw them on, and there were cars in the driveway in line to get into the parking lot, because we keep the parking lot chained off. And yeah, and then it doors open at 7:45. It was like 7:30, and there was a line of like 20 people into the parking lot. And then I said, shit, I probably should go over there. So I go over, and I walk in. I'm like, holy shit, this place was packed, right? And there was over 100 people, right? And let me rewind. So last week, Gus had wanted to try his he's got I guess it's a 14 scale. I don't know. It's a low C mini B or something. I don't follow that kind of stuff, right? So we went to this other track locally down not too far from the track in Millville. And I'm looking around. I'm like, damn, this shit's tiny. And we're talking to the guy, and we're like, so what kind of turnout you get? Because I'm always inquisitive, that kind of stuff. And he's like, well, we usually get like 5 or 6 people to come in on the blah, blah, blah. We race and, I'm like, oh, okay. And then I wake up on Saturday and there's freaking 100 people in the place, right? So I get there and it's packed. It's totally packed. And I got another buddy of mine who's cooking and he's making smash burgers and breakfast sandwiches. And then the announcement comes, or he comes over and he tells me, we have 73 racers that are racing today. 73. Might even been 75 by the end of the day or whatever. And he said, yeah, and they're all, and more than half are running 2 classes, right? So there were like 130 entries and 70 plus actual racers, right? And the pits, he had built 40 pit stations, right? You take the 4x8 table and you divide it in 4, and this is all new to me. It's all totally new to me. So he did that. Those were full. He's opened up the storage room. They're in there. They're down the sidewalls. They're in the back. Who they would have been in the kitchen. They didn't. They were like, got a pit somewhere, right? So yeah. So he did very well. Rhythm RC Raceway is the handle on all social media platforms. Rhythm RC Racers is the group that you can. Oh, you in trouble?
No, she's yelling at my boy.
Okay. Yeah, so Rhythm RC up here in Jersey. So anybody out there that wants to race RC cars, this is fast becoming probably the hub of South Jersey racing for RC cars. And I don't know, we better watch it because I might pull the plug on motorcycle racing and go race some RC cars. It's definitely less expensive.
It might be more money in it than sponsorship too. You never know.
Yeah, well, there's guys that have rides. Who's got a fully sponsored ride for RC cars? I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? I don't understand it. Like, oh yeah, you got $140 tire bill.
$140 tire bill.
And I'm like, yeah, that's funny.
You're like, that don't have buy a front tire fool.
Yeah, exactly. Not even. It's
right.
Whew, that's 2 tanks of gas. But yes, so talking and he's there. I'm there. Here I am. I'm amongst 70 plus racers and nicest guys, right? It just goes to show you that, race family, as we call it, race fam, it's the same in every industry, right? So it's, motocross, it's road racing, it's RC cars, it's the same mentality. These guys are out there, who's giving who tires and who's giving this one and who's giving that one, and it's the same mentality. So here I'm in the pits, I'm walking around and they're asking, because he did a thank you, a little speech, and they introduced me to everybody, right? So now everybody's like, oh, so you're in the building? I'm like, no, I'm the janitor. I don't own the building. I'm just the janitor, right? So they're like, oh yeah, so you're into racing? I'm like, yeah, but just a different kind of racing. And they're like, oh yeah, what are you doing? I'm like, and of course everybody immediately has no idea what we do. Immediately it's motocross. Oh, I love it when they jump those jumps, and like, it's not that. Mini dyno machine. No, it's not a mini dyno machine. Oh, yeah, I guess we could. But anyway, yeah. So it's not, So they're like, yeah, we got, it's just expensive sport to get in. It's $1,500 for the car, and I don't mean to be making fun of it. Just and it's $1,500 for the car. I'm like, I wish, And I didn't say, I don't want to, trump anybody's ace or whatever that saying is, right? It's not my gig, right? But yeah, I'm thinking back in my mind, I think I paid $4,000 in tires for that last round. You paid 130. 130. I could have bought a fucking Yugo, and but that's just the way it is. But they're really good people, and I wish them the most success that they can possibly have down there. So, and then my buddy who's going to be cooking in the kitchen, he's dude, I'll tell you what, we had the best smash burgers and the best, he made breakfast sandwiches and smash burgers throughout the day. I was like, oh man, he must have gained 10 pounds. Yeah, 10. I'm not coming here every Saturday. There's no way I'm coming here every Saturday. Pork roll, egg, and cheese, and friggin' smash burgers. I'll be dead before you know it.
Right. I have a heart attack in 3 months from now.
Yep.
That's hilarious. He says, Mrs. Simcoe, you still talking to that motorcycle guy? Yeah. She's always yelling at him for sure. Speaking of which, my son finally rode his dirt bike for the first time.
Nice. What's he got? What are you riding? What's he riding?
Man, we bought him a brand new dirt bike from Carnes Performance. Jason Carnes down there in Pennsylvania. I went and got him a 110, man, and brought it home. He got on it as soon as we unloaded it, rode it, and put it up, and it sat there for about a year. Well, I took it out and rode it around every once in a while.
Nice.
And finally, he's like, "Yeah, I want to ride my dirt bike." I was like, "Hell yeah!" We get out there for 20 minutes. He's like, "Okay, I'm done. I want to go back in." I was like, "At least you rode it, right?" So
yeah, it's a start. It's a start.
Yeah,
I did that. Totally did that. My Gus did it too when I was 8 years old, right? I'm going to date myself. I was 8 years old, and my aunt had a little Yamaha ME60. It was a little 2-stroke, and she used to ride me on the handlebars, right? So when it came time, I was 8 years old, and I wanted it. They had a GT80, and I actually saw one on Marketplace last week. I literally first bike was a GT80, and I was scared to death to ride it. I wanted it. Oh hell, I wanted it. Right, got it to the house, and I'm not riding that thing. Right. So my father gets on the back of the motorcycle, right, and we're going there. We had this loop in between my parents' house and my grandparents' house, and my aunt would ride around it all the time. And sure enough, we're riding, and I'm in the front, and my father's on the back, and he's doing everything. You got your hand on the bars? I said, yeah. Easy. You got your feet on the pegs? I said, yeah. And he jumped off the back. I said, you fucker. I'm like, oh. Yeah. So that was my start, and I went from the GT80 to the XR80 to the 4-stroke, because that mixing gas shit was for the birds, right?
Yeah.
And then I went back to the CR80, right, because that mixing gas shit was pretty hot. And then I went over to the trike world, because that was like my CR80 was a 1981 or an 82, and then it was like in the early 80s when the trikes came out, before they were outlawed, right? Yeah. So I got the ATC 185S, right, and I was riding that for a bit. At the same time, my father bought the Odyssey. We had an Odyssey, right, and then I kept going, and I got the 200X, I believe it was, full suspension, Pro Link, the whole nine. And then after that, I went to the Warrior. So I got the Yamaha Warrior quad. So I never went down the 2-wheel trail. And then once the Warrior quad, I was done. I was done from like 80, what was that, 87, 88? And then I ended up 91, I bought a Ninja. And I owned it for literally 3 months and almost killed myself 3 times on it. And I remember I went back to the dealership, and I said, take this motorcycle from me. I don't want it. Get this thing away from me. Give me something I can go. It was a 350 Warrior. You're right. It wasn't the 400. It was a 350. My Ryan was just reminding me. And yes, the Yoda had a 1971 Toyota Land Cruiser. Had that at the same time. On 36-inch Swampers, by the way. So anyway, I go to the dealership, and I take this friggin' bike. I said, I don't want it. Give me something I can go full throttle, fall, and not get hurt. And I left there with a jet ski. So then I went to jet skis, and I rode jet skis for a couple of years. And I blew up 2 motors on that thing. And then I stopped until in 2001. I bought like a cruiser. Matter of fact, I bought a cruiser when... Was it 2001 or was it 99? I'm trying to think. No, it was when we found out, my wife found out she was pregnant with my daughter. I came home with a motorcycle. I said, I got a surprise. I can't wait to tell you. I got a surprise. She goes, I got a surprise too. I said, oh, you go first. And she's like, I'm pregnant. And I went, oh, fuck.
That just trumped my surprise.
What's your surprise? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
Yes, it was Top Gun that made me buy the Ninja, Rick. It was. It really. He's not wrong. He's 100% dead on.
GPZ 900. Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you want to talk about lightning striking twice. In 2004, they had a government incentive that if you bought an SUV over 6,000 pounds, you got this $25,000 off your taxes or whatever it was for 2 years in a row. Right. But they railed you for fuel anyway. So it didn't matter. Right. So I went and bought a Hummer. I bought an H2 Hummer, which is the laughing stock now. I think I was on with Dustin when Gus.
I remember that.
Yeah. So it's funny that he was parking that. I don't think I told the story at that time, because when I had bought the Hummer, I didn't tell my wife. And again, I came home, I got a surprise, and she's like, me too. And I said, what was your surprise first? Yeah, I'm pregnant with who is now Gus, right? And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm not buying anything anymore. I swear to God. Next thing I know, I'm going to have 10 kids. So I ended up with the Hummer, and now that thing's rusted away. I'm beating the hell out of it, though. I'm going to run that thing into the ground. It has 1 cylinder, does not fire. I put headers on it. I put headers on the Hummer. No lie. I put headers on it, and I didn't realize that this one cylinder didn't fire until literally I looked in the engine compartment, and all the headers are now rusted over except for the first one, which is still the original powder coating. I'm like, I guess that's not firing at all. That's not even waking up at
it's
all.
not even trying.
It's not even trying. I'm like, shit, that's good. Yeah, 7 cylinders, fine. We're only pushing snow with it. It doesn't matter.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to sound that way. It's normal. No problem.
Yeah, the miss is
totally
you can't
fine.
tell.
No.
I got headers to straight pipes to Flowmasters. They're not Flowmasters, they're Flowmasters. I got the cheap ones. I know that shit. They're all gonna rust out anyway, so I buy the Flowmasters. So I got them all straight pipes out the back. So it makes a lot of noise and doesn't go anywhere.
I love
it's a trip. Yeah.
We all got to beat up. Alex said SFO mini. Yeah, dude, I would love to bring Rossi down there. Maybe he will. His whole thing was he grew up on, automatic 4-speed automatic. So I said, dude, if I buy you a brand new dirt bike, it's going to be a clutch. Like you learn, you're getting to the age, you get to learn how to ride a clutch. So he first gets on it. I was like, okay, you got to ease it out slowly, blah, blah, blah. Of course, what does he do? Shoot. There the bike goes, there he goes, and he got all scared. I was like, man, just get back on the bike, dude. Just sit on it, right? And he did, and he's just like, yeah, man. That kind of like mentally scared him, and so
he'll get back on it.
He will.
Still got it, right? You didn't sell it.
Yeah, hell no. I ride the shit out of it. I go out there and ride the shit out of the thing. It's funny though, man, because I had, I've been trying to still recover my wrist from my wrist surgery, and I got out there for about 30 minutes the other day and came back in. My wrist was barking pretty good, so slowly but surely it'll be back. I'll be back.
There.
Yeah, dude. It's it put a smile on my face to see my boy out there riding again. I was like, yes, let's go. So
nice. Cool.
I'm gonna try to bring him to Daytona with us this year.
Yeah, do that.
Because he said he wanted to come check out Florida. And
bring him by us. We'll be in the. You know where we're at, right? You know where they put us.
Yeah, I know.
In that back lot in the corner.
Yep.
I like being out there. It's nice and away from
the chaos.
Away from the chaos. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I like being out there in the back too, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, Mr. Iconic just showed up. I flew back from Costa Rica to catch this sizzling pod with Kev Dog. Are we sizzling? Have we met your expectations? Because it doesn't sound that sizzling to me. This is just everyday nonsense for me.
Love it, man. What is up, AJ, man? Yeah. It's funny, man. Every time I go to Moto America, I've never formally met AJ yet, man.
Really?
No, not yet.
Yeah, such a good dude.
Yep.
So humble, humble dude. Really humble, really cool, down to earth,
I'll catch him in the paddock. I'll get him on the podcast one day for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. AJ, when you're coming on the podcast.
Yeah, when you're coming on, AJ, let's do it, right? He out there selling them yachts.
I know. Well, see, now here's the deal, right? There's an angle for you. AJ, Simcoe here says he wants to go for your next yacht sale. Just make sure it's got Wi-Fi. You can do a podcast from the, what do they call the Lido deck. I'm going to do a podcast from the Lido deck, and Captain Stubing and Julie, the first mate, will be there too. Chris, you know what I'm talking about, right? Chris saw Love Boat. AJ, you probably haven't seen Love Boat. You're too young for that, but I'm going back to Love Boat with that one.
Oh man,
yeah. He's like, he's right. This guy's a hustler. He's always in the trailer working.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nah, ain't nothing wrong with that at all. But listen, Kevin, dude, this has been a lot of fun. I'm gonna get off here because I know it's getting close to my boy's bedtime. He's gonna be busting in here and blah 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 blah. So, but we'll sit down and let's definitely do this again, man.
Like I said, we'll try to get that remote in, right? We'll do the remote from the phone.
Let's do it.
I'll roll into the back and we'll do a tour of the performance shop. It should be done by then. And we'll show you through the diner room. We'll show you all the benches and all the storage areas and whatnot, and just give you the whole inside tour of Rodeo Performance, which is it's an actual thing now. It didn't exist last year at this time, and now it exists. Go figure.
I love it, man. I can't wait, and dude, the future's bright for Gus, man. He's one of the kids that has all the talent in the world, has the attitude to make it. So
just got to keep focused. He's just got to keep focused. It's hard, it's hard being a dad, as you know, right? You want him to stay focused, but you want him to learn on his own, right? So you can try to guide, in a certain direction. But man, if you push too hard, they really push back. I can tell you that right now. They pushed back in a big way. Matter of fact, that was last night, but I'm not going to go there. That was a whole nother story.
We'll save that for the next one.
I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, exactly. But no, as you soon will find out as they get older. What do they say? They say that you spend the first 3 years of their lives teaching them to walk and talk, and then the next 30 to sit down and shut up. That's raising children. Good night, Alex.
Yep. Good night, Alex.
Good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, we'll wrap this up because it's always great.
Yeah, babe, we'll do it. Let's get together right before the season opener at Daytona. Your shop will be done by then, or as soon as your shop's done, just hit me up, man. You're always welcome on. We'll sit down. We'll do it. Let's make this like a several time a year. I mean, just get on here.
Yeah, I agree. We should do it quarterly. We'll call it the quarterly cast.
Yep, the quarterly cast. Yep, new name for our show, quarterly cast.
Quarterly cast.
Yeah, with Kev Dog.
Well, no, we got to be online for the 15th because we have that suspension seminar. So it's got to be done by then. I mean, it's close. It's super close right now. It's just a matter of throwing all the shit out.
All right. Well, I tell you what, after the seminar and after Christmas, let's just jump on. We can talk about the seminar and how things went and all that good stuff and do a pre-quarter of the quarterly podcast for next year.
There you go.
There it is. Absolutely. But yeah, so listen, everybody, I appreciate everybody joining and tuned in. This episode will be out here by 11 p.m. tonight because I got a new way to put it out everywhere a lot sooner than before I finally figured that shit out. But anyway, listen, if it wasn't for Kevin and everybody listening and downloading and liking and sharing and subscribing, all the ding dongs and TikToks, I would not be able to do this. So it's nothing but love to each and every single one of you. I know I say it all the time because I absolutely truly mean it, man. If it was
those were little hearts, the little hearts just came on.
Yeah, screen. You like that, don't you? Look, check it out.
Can I do that? Can I do that?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Well, I got these big fat Italian fingers. It's not gonna. What the hell am I even? Is that a grapefruit? I don't think it's a heart. I'll forget it. I give up.
All right,
you got it down. Look, you keep getting more hearts.
Let's go, right?
Oh, it says hand effects. Oh my God, I gotta go. I'll be here all night trying to do this. It's a penguin. There's a penguin here.
Right. Dude, sometimes I made it rain one time and balloons popped up.
So if you do this, does it rain?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to learn the gestures, man. I don't know.
It's a little. It just popped up over here.
So. I don't know. But anyway, listen.
We get sidetracked again.
That's what I love about the podcast. If anybody's out there in the industry looking for graphics, look no further than GRG Designs.
Hey, this is my podcast, not his. Come on now. With this, when Gus wasn't here, we don't get to promote his stuff. No, I'm totally kidding. Absolutely. Go check out grgdesigns.com, rodioracing.com, rodioperformance.com. What else do I have? No, I'm sorry, rodioperformance.net. I couldn't buy.com. Rodioperformance.net, rodioracing.com. What else? That's it for sponsors.
That's it.
Well, luckstarvip.com, but we didn't finish that yet. So that's in the making.
And Babuto suspension.
Batubo suspension.
Yeah, I said it all backwards.
No, I say Bitubo as well sometimes. It's not. They don't really care.
Yeah, no, it's easier to say, I guess. You know, Bitubo, whatever.
Because you're trying to be like sophisticated.
Politically correct.
Bitubo sounds better than Bitubo. I don't know. So get out of here already. It's enough of this nonsense.
Anyway, listen, this episode will be out later on, man. I appreciate it, Kevin. We'll definitely stay in touch, my friend, and I'm looking forward to the next podcast. We get to sit down and talk shit again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. And that's the legend right there, the true legend right there.
It's this guy and Gus and everybody else. Let's go. I appreciate it. Anyway, all right, brother. On that note, we are out of here. We'll talk to you guys soon. Later, bro. Let me end this real quick. Hang on, just stay on.
Calling all two-wheel enthusiasts, get ready to rev up your earbuds with Pin the Gas Podcast, the ultimate motorcycle racing podcast, hosted by Chris Simcoe, one of our very own excellent leaders here in Roanoke, Virginia. With expert analysis, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive writer interviews, Pin the Gas Podcast delivers the adrenaline rush of the racetrack straight to your ears. Whether you're a diehard fan or a curious newcomer, you'll gain insights that will transform how you watch and understand motorcycle racing. On your favorite podcast app, join Simcoe as he takes you on a high-speed journey through the world of motorcycle racing. Pin the Gas Podcast.
All right, man. That was a lot of fun, Kev.